In a world obsessed with fleeting pleasures and external validation, finding true peace and purpose can feel like an impossible quest. We're bombarded with messages that tell us we need more possessions, more followers, more achievements to be happy. But what if true happiness isn't about accumulating more, but about cultivating inner strength and wisdom? That's the essence of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided countless individuals for centuries, from emperors like Marcus Aurelius to everyday people seeking a more meaningful existence. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or retreating from the world. It's about developing the resilience to face life's challenges with clarity, courage, and unwavering inner peace. Today, we're diving deep into 12 powerful Stoic principles that can transform your life, one day at a time. These aren't just abstract concepts. They're practical tools you can use to navigate the complexities of the modern world, overcome obstacles, and build a life of genuine fulfillment. Let's begin. Number 1. No one cares as much as you think, beyond social anxiety and the theater of the self. The Stoic understanding of this principle transcends mere social anxiety. It dismantles the very foundation upon which that anxiety is built. It's not just about realizing that people are preoccupied. It's about understanding the nature of perspective itself. We are undeniably the protagonists of our own internal narratives. The spotlight shines brightly on our perceived flaws and triumphs within the confines of our own minds. However, the universe, in its indifferent vastness, neither applauds nor condemns our personal dramas. Internalizing this truth is not an invitation to nihilistic apathy, but the key to profound liberation. The freedom to act without the crushing weight of anticipated judgment opens the door to authenticity, a cornerstone of Stoic virtue. It allows us to act in accordance with our values, rather than performing for an imagined audience. Furthermore, reflecting on cosmic timescales puts human affairs into perspective, revealing the fleeting nature of our concerns. This awareness fosters genuine humility, dissolving the ego's inflated sense of self-importance and detaching us from the addictive need for external validation. Ultimately, it shifts the focus from what others think to what is right, fostering genuine compassion, rooted not in the desire for approval but in the well-being of humankind. It's understanding that others' lives don't revolve around us. Number 2. Feelings aren't facts. Dissecting the cognitive apparatus and the tyranny of impulse. The modern understanding of cognitive biases, confirmation bias, availability heuristic, etc., aligns remarkably well with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Emotions from a Stoic perspective aren't simply biochemical surges, they are judgments, often hasty, incomplete, and ill-informed, about external events. Anger, for instance, isn't just a rush of adrenaline, but a judgment that one has been wronged, a belief that justice has been violated. Anxiety becomes a judgment about a potential future threat, an anticipation of suffering. Stoicism emphatically doesn't advocate suppressing these feelings, an impossible and ultimately unhealthy task, but rather subjecting their underlying assumptions to rigorous scrutiny. This demands metacognition, the capacity to observe one's own thought processes, to stand outside oneself and examine the inner workings of the mind. By dissecting the cognitive apparatus that produces our emotions, we can challenge their validity, identify the biases that distort our perceptions, and consciously choose a more rational and virtuous response. This isn't emotional repression, but emotional mastery, a deliberate and conscious steering of one's inner world, analogous to a skilled helmsman guiding a ship through stormy seas. It calls for a profound interrogation of deeply held beliefs and habitual assumptions that so often lead us astray and create negative thought patterns. Number 3. Let the ego die, embracing perpetual becoming and the pursuit of wisdom. The Stoic. Rejection of the ego should not be misinterpreted as a call for self-deprecation or the denial of one's individuality. It's a profound recognition that the ego, the constructed, often inflated sense of I, is inherently limited, fragile, and ultimately a source of suffering. The ego clings desperately to fixed identities, to past achievements, and to a need for external validation, fearing vulnerability and change above all else. Stoicism, in stark contrast, urges us to embrace a state of perpetual becoming, a continuous and dynamic process of learning, growth, and self-transcendence. True strength lies not in rigidly defending a static ego, but in cultivating the flexibility to adapt, the courage to admit ignorance, and the humility to embrace new perspectives, even those that challenge our deeply held beliefs. While the ego craves validation and seeks the fleeting approval of others, Stoic virtue seeks excellence for its own sake, regardless of external recognition or reward. This demands relentless self-examination, a willingness to confront one's flaws and weaknesses, and an unwavering commitment to constant self-improvement, not for the sake of ego gratification, but for the betterment of oneself and the world. Number 4. You don't need many people. Cultivating virtue-based relationships and the erosion of superficiality. Stoic friendship transcends the superficiality of modern social networking and the mere accumulation of contacts. It is fundamentally about forging deep, meaningful, and transformative bonds grounded in shared virtue and a mutual commitment to the pursuit of wisdom. Seneca, in his letters, wrote extensively and eloquently about the paramount importance of choosing friends wisely, actively seeking out those who can challenge us, inspire us to be better versions of ourselves, and hold us accountable to our highest ideals. A true Stoic friendship is, in essence, a partnership in the pursuit of virtue and wisdom, a collaborative journey towards self-improvement and a more fulfilling life. It is a relationship built upon a bedrock of mutual respect, unwavering honesty, genuine empathy, and an unshakable commitment to each other's well-being, both physical and moral. This necessitates a careful and deliberate curation of one's social circle, a courageous willingness to prune away relationships that are demonstrably toxic, draining, or merely superficial, and a dedicated effort to nurture and cultivate the bonds that truly matter, the connections that elevate and inspire. It's a conscious rejection of the performative and shallow friendships often fostered on social media in favor of authentic connections and genuine human connection. Number 5. Solitude builds strength, the crucible of self-knowledge and confronting the inner landscape. Solitude, in the profound Stoic sense, is not to be equated with loneliness or mere physical isolation. It is rather a deliberate and intentional practice of self-reflection, a conscious retreat into the inner world, deliberately chosen to cultivate self-knowledge, cultivate inner peace, and foster a deep connection with one's true self. It provides a sacred space for profound introspection, a refuge free from the constant distractions, relentless demands, and often corrupting influences of the external world. It is precisely in the quietude of solitude that we are afforded the opportunity to confront our deepest fears, meticulously examine our core values, and develop a more profound and nuanced understanding of our own thoughts, emotions, and motivations. This demands rigorous self-discipline, an unwavering willingness to resist the ever-present urge to fill the silence with external stimuli and distractions. Number 6. Be kind to yourself. The paradox of rigorous self-improvement and the importance of inner harmony. The Stoic pursuit of virtue is undeniably rigorous, demanding constant self-examination, relentless self-critique, and an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of excellence in all aspects of life. However, at the heart of this demanding path lies a crucial recognition of the profound importance of self-compassion. The path to virtue, as any Stoic practitioner will readily attest, is inevitably paved with mistakes, with inevitable setbacks, and with the inherent imperfections of the human condition. To be excessively harsh on oneself, to engage in unrelenting self-criticism, is ultimately counterproductive, leading to discouragement, fostering a crippling sense of inadequacy, and ultimately hindering progress towards genuine self-improvement. Number 7. High expectations. Hurt. Aligning desire with reality and the acceptance of what is. Stoic philosophy astutely recognizes that disappointment and suffering arise not from external events themselves, but from the often vast gap between our rigid expectations and the ever-changing reality of the world. The more inflexible and unrealistic our expectations become, the greater the potential for profound disappointment and the more vulnerable we become to the inevitable vicissitudes of fortune. This is not to suggest that we should abandon all aspirations, relinquish our goals, or cease to strive for excellence. Rather, it is an urging to cultivate a more realistic and adaptive approach to life, aligning our desires and expectations with what is genuinely within our sphere of influence and control. We cannot, with any degree of certainty, control the actions of others, predict the chaotic events that unfold in the world, or even guarantee the outcomes of our own most diligent efforts. Number 8. Nothing lasts forever. Embracing the ephemeral nature of existence and cultivating gratitude. The profound recognition of impermanence stands as a cornerstone, a foundational principle of Stoic philosophy. The core premise is that everything is in a state of constant flux, a continuous and often unpredictable cycle of birth, growth, decay, and eventual dissolution. This fundamental understanding can be, paradoxically, a source of both profound sorrow and liberating freedom. Sorrow arises because it reminds us with unflinching honesty of the inherent fragility of human life and the unavoidable inevitability of loss. Yet liberation springs from the recognition that our attachments, our anxieties, our fears, are ultimately rooted in the illusion of permanence. Number 9. Time can't be bought. Investing in meaningful action and the value of presence. The Stoic understanding of time moves far beyond the simple mechanical ticking of a clock. It is more than mere seconds, minutes, and hours. It is a finite and utterly irreplaceable resource, the very fabric of our existence, the precious medium through which we experience life itself. The modern world, with its relentless demands and its endless distractions, is constantly vying for our attention, seeking to consume our time with fleeting pleasures and superficial engagements. Stoicism serves as a powerful counterpoint, urging us to be consciously mindful of how we choose to spend our time, to invest it wisely in activities that deeply align with our core values and genuinely contribute to our long-term well-being and personal growth. This demands ruthless prioritization, a courageous willingness to say no to the myriad of demands that drain our energy, distract us from our goals, and ultimately prevent us from living a life of purpose. Number 10. Money is just a tool, a path to independence and the distortion of values. True Stoic wealth is not found in the accumulation of material possessions, nor in the pursuit of boundless riches, but rather in the cultivation of inner contentment, in the ability to find satisfaction and fulfillment regardless of external circumstances. It is at its core a philosophical orientation that seeks to minimize the potentially corrosive grip of external desires and material possessions over the inner self, thereby freeing us from the tyranny of wanting. Money in and of itself is not inherently good or evil. It is simply a tool, a neutral instrument that can be used for either virtuous or destructive ends. In the right hands, guided by wisdom and compassion, money can be a powerful means to promote virtuous actions, to support charitable causes, and to create opportunities for both oneself and others. However, money too often becomes a siren's call, a seductive lure that distracts us from our true purpose, driving us to spend the bulk of our limited time and energy chasing after it, often at the expense of our own happiness, our relationships, and our moral integrity. Number 11. Habits shape destiny, the power of incremental virtue, and the compound effect of choice. Change your habits, and you will inevitably change the trajectory of your life. Our actions, seemingly insignificant in isolation, are like individual atoms that, over the passage of time, combine and accumulate to construct the very building that is our character, our very identity. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, were keen and astute observers of how our daily choices and recurring actions, both large and small, exert a powerful influence on our destiny, shaping the kind of people we become and the kind of lives we ultimately lead. It is, therefore, absolutely imperative that we exercise great care and conscious deliberation in choosing the paths that gradually become our habits, understanding that these seemingly minor choices will ultimately define who we are and what we achieve. It is the relentless accumulation of small, positive actions, consistently repeated over time, that ultimately compounds to create a life of virtue, purpose, and fulfillment. Number 12. Respect the body, a temple for reason and the mind-body. Connection. The Stoics, with their holistic view of human nature, recognized the profound and inseparable connection between the mind and the body, understanding that these two aspects of ourselves are not separate entities, but rather deeply interconnected and interdependent components of a single unified whole. The body was never viewed as simply a vessel or a mere container for the mind, but as an integral and essential part of our being, a fundamental foundation upon which our mental and emotional well-being is built. A healthy, well-cared-for body provides the strong and stable foundation that is necessary for a clear, rational, and resilient mind. Conversely, neglecting the body through poor dietary choices, a sedentary lifestyle devoid of exercise, or inadequate sleep inevitably undermines the mind's ability to function optimally, leading to a decline in cognitive performance, increased emotional volatility, and a diminished capacity for reason and self-control. The true power of Stoicism lies not in abstract theorizing, but in practical application. These 12 principles are not just philosophical concepts to be contemplated. They are tools to be used, strategies to be employed, and habits to be cultivated in the daily battles of life. Challenge yourself to integrate these principles into your everyday routine. Practice them in your interactions with others, in your response to adversity, and in your pursuit of your goals. The more you embody these principles, the more resilient, virtuous, and fulfilling your life will become.